Okay, so I'm here with Annette and Sam, and they are home buyers, and they actually, I'm really, really proud of them because they each had their own individual house as single folks, and then they met each other and then decided to buy a house together. And so we're going to kind of talk all about the experience. That's what we're here to help you with. If you're considering your journey, we want to make sure that you're prepared. So I'm going to be asking questions, and I'm going to refer to this, and this is a conversation, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So let's start with the fun part. Did you have a aha moment when you knew this house that you bought together was right for you?
We did, yes. We had been looking on Zillow for a while, and I tried a new neighborhood, which I had not looked at before. And one of the very first listings that came up that was recommended for us had this very cute sign out front.
Literal
literal
sign
that we should buy this house. Yes. We're both Lord of the Rings fans, and the sign was from The Hobbit, where it's, what does it say?
No
admittance.
No admittance. Yes. What is that word? No admittance except on party business.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It was very cute, and it definitely drew my attention, and we looked at the house, even just pictures, and all the rest of it was ticked a lot of our boxes. So,
yeah,
that
awesome.
was a good moment.
Awesome. And then we got the seller to leave the sign.
Yep.
So that was their housewarming gift. So you can do things like that when you ask. All you have to do is ask. What's the first thing you did after you got the keys to the house?
Panicked. Because we forgot to turn on our electricity.
Oh,
We
man.
didn't plan in advance for that.
Oh,
we
man.
had thought about it before. I mean, like she said, we bought homes before, but
It just slipped.
slept.
Yeah.
A lot of things to do.
Yeah, there really are. Which tells me I really need to do a kind of a check-in list.
Yeah.
So that you'll have all of the utility telephone numbers right there, and garbage pickup, and you don't think about those little details. There's so much to think about. You don't think about that.
Right.
So that was the first thing. That was the most important thing. That's awesome. Do you have a favorite memory in the house so far?
You should do this one.
I forgot.
The Halloween party.
Yeah, so we have a really great downstairs area. And there's a custom-built bar down there, and a fireplace, and a built-in bookshelf, and we actually added a projector and projector screen down there, and a surround sound setup. So it's a really good setup. Mm-hmm. And so it's sort of our first celebration in the house together. We invited all of our friends over.
Nice.
We had all the decorations, of course.
Yeah.
And I made some playlists and played over the surround sound. We had strobe lights, and it was great.
Wow.
It was really fun.
Is that when it really felt like home, or did it feel like home before then?
That was technically our housewarming party.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped.
Just a couple months later.
Yeah.
We moved in late, July.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
late October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like home by then.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, let's see. I'm going to keep asking questions so that it can be helpful for you. Now I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of the process. So during the process, was there anything that surprised you the most? Now, again, they bought a house together, and then there were first-time home buyers for each of their own homes. Mm-hmm. So think back to when you were buying your first house, your very first house, individually. Mm-hmm. So, Sam, let's start with you. Was there anything that surprised you the most about the home buying process?
Yeah, I think the biggest miss was not knowing about all of the different available funds and options out there, especially for first-time home buyers. And not just the traditional, first-time home buying loan, but just income-based things and
Yeah.
like all the different groups of opportunities that I just had no idea.
Right.
That would have made it so much easier to
Yeah.
start that first purchase.
Right. Which, those of you that have been to the whole person home buying workshop, that's exactly what we focus on. We have people there from Kentucky Housing Corporation and a Prison and a lender that's an approved lender through the Kentucky Housing Corporation, where you can get those $10,000 down payment assistance and a first-time home buyer. So, I mean, that's sometimes a make or break, whether you can get into the house. And if you don't know enough to ask, you just don't know. So, and, realtors should all know about that because it is so expensive to get into houses. But, so it's really important that we do this education, especially for you guys that are thinking about taking this journey. So what about you?
Well, I just want to also say that you did tell us about all of the programs
Yes,
that were available
yes.
when we were buying our second house with
Right,
you. So
right.
it does help when
Yeah.
you have a really informed and with it realtor.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd say same thing, like the surprising nature of just like how many options there are out there for everything. But I also think like the time process, even like in looking for a house, I was kind of casually looking for several months and then I like found something and then it all just kind of happened. So I don't know, that sort of, was also surprising. Of just like, sometimes it's a lot of waiting and then it's a lot
Yeah.
of hurry up and get all your stuff
Yes.
together and then you
All
have to
right,
wait
hustle.
again.
Yes, exactly. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
And then, and it's still a seller's market out there. A healthy market is when we have 6 months worth of inventory to sell. And we've got just a little over 2 months of inventory. So that's a great point to think about time, because if you have to be out of a place somewhere, don't start looking 30 days before you have to be out, because you may find a place that you love and then you get outbid, or somebody comes in with an offer that the seller likes better than yours. So, so those are really good points. Did you use any resources and tools that you found helpful?
Which time?
Either
Yeah.
that comes to mind. You said you use Zillow. I know a lot of people use Zillow. Now, when I'm helping someone look for a home, I set up a search based on what's important to people in the area. So did those searches help, or was Zillow more or easier to use for you guys?
No, I think it was good that we got those from you.
Okay.
It definitely like alerted us to
Yeah,
more houses.
yeah.
Because with Zillow, like you have to be the one
Yeah,
to
doing
look,
that.
to do the search yourself. So
Yeah.
that was helpful.
Okay, good. And sometimes with that, we have to jump on it fast.
Yeah.
So if we see it, okay. So let's go back to your very first home. What motivated you to buy? Let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I have a complex history, but the biggest thing is just I didn't want to rent anymore.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to be beholden
Right.
to someone else, be on their timeline, pay them the money instead
Yeah.
of it going towards my own asset.
Yeah.
And I get it. Renting has its place.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But I planned on staying here.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to stay here, why not purchase a home?
Right.
And
Exactly.
make it my own. And I wanted to do the projects. I wanted to learn
Yeah.
about some of the things required to keep a house, updated and maintained.
Right.
All of that.
Right.
So that was it. I mean, I was very motivated to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think all the same. I hadn't lived here for as long, but I was like making a decision to stay, and so also didn't want to just like put all my money towards rent. I wanted it to be an investment, and also wanted to feel like I could do what I wanted to a
Yeah.
space. Like I really enjoy decorating, but you
Yeah.
can't paint. Usually,
Right.
a
You could,
rental.
but you're wasting your money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have 3 cats as well, and I just wanted to like have a space for
Aw,
them to
yeah.
Enjoy and not
Destroy.
worry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in some cases.
Yeah. At least
Yeah.
it's your own that they're
That's
destroying
Exactly.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So, financing is such a big part. It's everything, right? I mean, I hate that it is, but it is. It's a huge part of the journey. So that's why we spend so much time on that, on the whole person, just helping you get your finances in order if that's needed or necessary, because that's the reality of the situation. Doesn't mean that it's insurmountable. These
No.
guys proved in their young careers that it's possible.
Well, and it's also just if there weren't financing options, it would be so much more difficult to buy a house,
Yeah.
right? And so we were just talking about it's not fun
Right.
to dish out a bunch of money, but also you have the opportunity to get a house that you want that you wouldn't normally be able to pay off in one lump
Right.
payment.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
That's worth
There's
it.
no trust fund babies here sitting here at all.
yeah,
You know? So, on that point about financing, and if every financing journey is unique, what advice would you give others to navigate the journey? And it can be anything from your mindset and something else, or so what would you say? What would you give someone that was sitting here going, I just don't know? Because I'm sure you guys both had those thoughts. It's like, I don't know if I can do this. So how did you deal with that uncertainty and level of fear?
Well, at least in terms of getting over sort of the fear of spending such a large amount of money,
Yeah.
like even on the down payment,
Right.
I just really reminded myself of what my goals and values were. And so I kept coming back to, I really want my own space. I really want my money to go into an investment, and I have to do that.
Yeah.
Or I have to pay a down payment in order to do all of that to get
Right.
what I want.
Right.
So that really helped.
Yeah.
That helped me kind of get over that hurdle. I think for advice, I would say a couple things. Know your options, which we kind of
Yeah.
already discussed. Like there are so many, even more than I knew about
Right.
at the time, like down payment assistance options through like the city
Yeah,
even has
yeah.
options for
They
that.
do.
And so like do your own research or ask your realtor. Hopefully you have a really good realtor like Joan. But if you don't,
I'm
there's
paying them at the end.
there are definitely ways to find
Yeah.
what you could be qualified for.
Right.
If you are planning to save your own money for a down payment, don't forget to also save for the closing costs.
Good point. Very
'Cause
good
that's
point.
a pretty hefty
Right.
addition.
Right.
And you should try to pay what you can, because that will help lower your
Yeah.
interest rate in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
and could reduce or eliminate your PMI.
Yeah, which stands for private mortgage insurance. If you don't fund over 80%, you don't have to have PMI. But if it's 80% or below, then you have to get private mortgage insurance. And that's just an insurance, unfortunately, for the financing company, so that if something happens and you can't pay your mortgage, then that insurance kicks in. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also not to be afraid of that.
Right.
If you don't have enough money for a full 20%
Yeah,
down payment, but
yeah.
you still want to buy a house and you're close enough, like,
Yeah.
go ahead and do it.
Yeah, in the old days, it was pretty straightforward. 20%,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
Now, there's so many creative ways. So many creative ways.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know if I would add much more. I mean,
Okay.
I think that those are the big things to think through, specifically with financing and setting a goal. Like, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And if you're at the stage where you don't want to rent anymore,
Yeah.
these are just the next steps.
Yeah.
And you just do the next steps, do the next step, and then the next step,
There you
and it'll
go.
work.
The next right step.
That's right.
That's great advice.
Yep.
And then you don't get overwhelmed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Wish we had callers.
That would be fun.
Hello.
You're next. I guess I just want to end just by, is there anything that we haven't covered that you wish that you had known, or have we pretty much covered it all? What's the what was the easiest part? Let's say of the last home that you guys bought together. What was the easiest part?
For me, like the easiest part was seeing myself in the home.
Ooh.
Like the first, I mean, even actually not even before we visited, just seeing it on Zillow, the
Oh,
pictures,
wow.
I was like, ooh, I love
Oh.
the kitchen. I love that downstairs, like
Yeah.
exposed beams.
Yeah.
Yay. And then we went and like spent that little bit of time there, and it felt really good.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, I could see us living here.
Felt right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big part
Yeah.
of this. Yeah. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I don't know about easy. I'm a little slower
Yeah, I hear you.
to move,
Yeah.
but to also just like feel like my autonomy hasn't been disrupted,
Right.
and so I struggle a little more with, especially changing my safe space.
Yeah.
So that's not easy for me
Yeah.
to envision myself in a space, because I'm like, yeah, but it's not safe yet. So that was harder.
Yeah.
Definitely harder. But I think once I started working on a project, or like I'll say the biggest one for me was setting up my surround sound and the projector screen.
Yeah.
And once I get started with that project,
Yeah.
of like, this is my space.
Yeah.
Then it felt more
Yeah.
easier.
You made your mark
Yeah.
on the home. Yeah.
I
That's
was like,
awesome.
oh, I can relax here. Oh, I
Yeah.
like this, So that was
Wow.
bigger for me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys. So they did it. They lived to tell about it. It's a huge step. It's, for most of us, it's going to be the biggest investment we ever make. But the good news is it does pay off. I've set them up on a report, so every month they see the equity that they're building on all 3 of their properties now. So if things start to feel scary out there, you can look at that and say, yeah, but I've got access to money if I need it. So anyway, hopefully you found this helpful, and we're going to be doing this once a month with other buyers that have gone through the process and lived to tell about it.